brilliant speed with vibrant service, vibrant broadband internet.
All right, it's 10:30, and it is time for Vibrant You. The show is on the air.
We are on the air. Well, thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having us. My name is Shane.
I'm Jane.
And I'm Nathan.
And, we enjoy discussing technology on the show. And, I mean, after all, we're a technology company.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And today we're going to discuss smart devices that can help save you energy costs. And one of the biggest ones Nathan's going to start us out with is the best way to save energy, or the biggest way a lot of times, is with a smart thermostat. Right, Nathan?
Yep, smart thermostats are very nice. I've been using one for many years now, and it's a sweet spot for vibrant and meager energy because it's smart, means it connects to the internet. Obviously it ties into vibrant and the technology that we provide there, and then it's also energy efficient and lowers energy costs, which is important on the meager energy side of things. So it kind of hits double home on our side of things. But yeah, smart thermostats are probably one of the most effective ways to save on energy costs, and a lot of energy providers sometimes offer rebates. You can sometimes get discounts when you're buying these devices, stuff like that. And first, I'm going to talk about some of the differences between what a smart thermostat is, what that means to be smart, compared to like a digital thermostat or an older mechanical thermostat, stuff people have obviously used in the past. The number one place to start is automation and learning capabilities. With a smart thermostat, a lot of these are now are going to learn patterns, learn your schedule. They can even be adjusted to detect if you're home or not, to adjust thermostats automatically. They can be tied into weather forecasts to be kind of smarter and adapt that way. Even your location, you can set up geofencing via location, like on your smartphone, and then if you're heading home for the day, it can adjust the temperature. If you leave home for the day, it can adjust your temperature. So there's a lot of smart capabilities that are kind of above and beyond what a lot of people automatically are using a thermostat for, or think a thermostat does for them. Compare that to like a digital thermostat. There may be some digital thermostats will let you program, some schedules, which are kind of cumbersome because usually you got to use the handful of keys on the thermostat hanging on the wall. It's not super easy to use, and this certainly isn't going to be adaptive with any kind of intelligent functionality. You kind of have to manually change every setting, every schedule, stuff like that. And then comparing that to a mechanical thermostat, I mean, that's fully manual. There's no scheduling, there's no automation. It's pretty much you got to walk over, use your hands, and dial it to the new temperature, and that's kind of all you're limited to.
Right.
So Shane, why don't you kind of walk in, besides just the learning capabilities, how you can use it, remotely via your app and stuff like that.
Right. So one of the coolest things about a smart thermostat is that you can control it with your smartphone. I see, Jeff, that you you could look at the temperature that you have at your house right now, which is what?
I think it was 68.
68, yeah. So, and you can just, you're at work and you can see, the house is at this temperature. But you can also adjust that. Let's say you're going to maybe go home for lunch or something and turn that up a little bit in the wintertime, or in the summertime you can cool the house down a little bit if it's like a 90-degree day. But the air conditioner doesn't have to run all day long, and that saves you energy. Now you compare that to a digital thermostat, like Nathan said, it might offer some basic programming. You can maybe have it, go down at night and come up in the morning and that kind of thing. But it's still nowhere near what you can do with the smart version of a thermostat. And of course the mechanical one, it's just there's no remote access. You maybe take a stick and dial it from the couch. That's about as remote as you get. So there's some other things too. The smart ones will also do some energy reporting. So it can tell you like how much you've been using, whether it's electricity or gas or whatever, and kind of give you tips for saving, and maybe it knows your schedule, so it can tell you maybe you should turn this down at a certain time or turn it back up, and it can alert you to if things are acting inefficiently. A digital one, there's no analytics, of course. It's just a temperature control, and that's it. And when it comes to the mechanical one, there's obviously no feedback. It pretty much is just set it and hope for the best. So Jane, how do they save? How do they save energy?
Okay. So I'm just gonna back up here. So we just recently moved, and we're as mechanical as they come. So funny story last night. Hannah and I get home after work, and it's cold. So I turn the heat on, right? And my husband would love to sleep with the windows open every day of the week. I mean, he just loves that. And I'm like, nope, I got allergies and I'm cold. No. So unbeknownst to me, he noticed that the heat was on last night and shut it off. So I wake up and I am just freezing because the heat's off. I look, it's 65 degrees in there, and I'm just like, Todd Farley, I'm so cold.
Is that cold?
Oh, I was cold. So anyway.
So what you do, Jane, is when you get the smart one installed, right? You have control on your phone. And then when you're in bed and you see, oh, it's cold, I'm going to pump that heat up and then sit, lay in bed for 10 minutes.
And I almost said to Todd, hey, turn it up in the morning so it's a little warmer, so I don't have to So to answer your question, how does it save energy? Well, not only does it save energy, but it saves
strife.
Right. The happy life at home, right? So smart thermostats, basically, like you guys have been saying, they're learning habits and if you're coming home or not, and they're adjusting the temperature. So that lowers the heat and then saves money, right? So it actually can save up to 10% annually on heating and cooling. So that's...
When I got my smart thermostat, my house was built in 1913, right? And it had the old dial with the mercury switch inside. And that thing was a pain. I mean, it was in the middle of the living room, so it's centrally located in the house, so the edges of the house are cold and the heat wouldn't kick on. So you'd turn the dial, well then the heat would be on for an excessive period of time, and it'd get so hot you'd have to manually turn the dial down. And there was so I live right in Litchfield, and I've got a gas furnace, right? So I think Centerpoint, they had a deal where I could get a Nest thermostat with a rebate. I think it was $150 at the time. And I was surprised at how easy it was to install. I did it myself. And I just took the old, of course you turn off the power, right? But I took the old dial mercury switch off the wall, and it tells you if you have, asks if you have 2 wires, hook it up this way. If you have 3 wires, hook it up this way. And I did that. Mine happened to have the 3 wires. I hooked it up that way, and it's just what a difference it makes. And from the phone, I can change the mode. I can go from heat mode only, or cool mode only, or like in the fall and the spring, you can do heat cool. So you have 2 temperatures. So as the day starts out cold.
Why would you ever change that?
Well, I don't know.
Why not heat and air conditioning all the time?
I suppose the air wouldn't turn on in the winter, would it? If it's below.
I'm never changing mine. I told my kid.
I don't know.
That. Why would I go heat only?
Yeah.
And then forget about it in the summertime.
Well,
no.
And I have. I mean, and so I did change that actually this morning. I put it on heat only because it was chilly in the house. And it's like, why isn't the heat go on? Well, that's because I had the low temperature set at 65.
If you'd had it on heat and air, it would have kicked in.
It might have, yeah. So anyway, I mean, it's just a wonderful thing, and I'm sure it saved me. I haven't done the calculations, but I know that it saved me. It saved me a headache anyway.
Yeah, but at least that.
Yeah, exactly. Nathan, how about you?
Yeah, I love thermostats, smart thermostats. I've been in 3 homes now. I've gotten a smart thermostat in all 3. I use it extensively. I'm that parent. I got 3 very young kids. I'm that parent that one of the coolest things about smart thermostats that I think people don't take advantage of, and Shane alluded to this earlier, is a lot of thermostats are kind of centralized. Sometimes they're in a weird spot in the house where the temperature is hard to kind of manage for the rest of the house. Well, most smart thermostats nowadays, you can get sensors that you can put in other rooms. So you can have, instead of the temperature being controlled by that living room where it's on the wall, you can put it in a bedroom and have it controlled by the bedroom, or you can switch it as the day goes. So, like I said, I got a sensor in each of my 3 kids' rooms. So if one kid's got a cold and they needed to be a little warmer, I say, okay, I'm going to can set that room to 70 degrees, 72, whatever, and the rest of the house will have to adjust based on that. But I can see the temperature in all those rooms. I can adjust it. I can say, okay, I want this room to be this temperature. I do follow that rule. And then something that I do all the time is if I go out of town for the weekend or a couple days, or I go to work, I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to adjust my temperature. I don't need the air conditioner set, all the way down to 68 or whatever all day while I'm gone. So I just, boot up the app, adjust the temperature, turn it, it can change it remotely. And then when we're about to head back home from vacation or whatever, I adjust it so it's nice, comfortable when we get home. I honestly, I'm not 100% sure I even know how to operate the one that's on the wall. I mean, I can figure it out. I'm a technical guy, but I only use the app ever. Or I go hands-free and tell my speaker to adjust the temperature for me. I don't really ever walk over to the device on the wall and adjust it. So I think it's really, really great. I recommend them to everybody. And then the cost savings that we've talked about is just huge. I find myself being way more conscious of controlling the weather and adjusting when I'm at home and stuff like that. Saves me a lot of energy and stuff like that, for sure. And then, so besides smart thermostats, we also want to talk about smart plugs and smart LED bulbs. And this is another way you save on cost. You kind of get some of the stuff you can have do a little bit more for you than you currently do. So it's not just about savings, it's also about kind of what you can use it for. One of my favorite ways to save energy, again, smart plugs, smart LED light bulbs. A smart plug is essentially a small adapter that can go on an outlet, and then you can plug in like a fan to it, a coffee maker, your TV, different things, so that you can control it remotely. You can have schedules for lights, lamps, stuff like that. And then something that I've kind of recently learned about is vampire power drain. Vampire power drain is like, you may turn your TV off, but especially if it's a smart TV, a lot of these now are going to run a little bit still when they're power, quote unquote, turned off, or they're doing some stuff in the background. Some of the stuff's nice. They're doing updates sometimes, stuff like that, but they can consume a lot of power when they're not being used, especially if it's in a room you're very rarely even in. That can add up to a lot of usage. So you can put it on a smart outlet that you can actually kill the power completely. So there's literally no power going to the device. I like using it for fans and lamps. I can have fans in a room that are set on schedules, or I can control remotely. Same with lamps. I have a couple lamps in our house that turn on when the sun goes down and turn off when the sun goes up, so that there's still some light in the house. And you can program a lot of these, remotely, based on your work hours, based on what's convenient for you. I know, Shane, you've used some of this stuff. I think I used to do it for like a coffee maker, and I know you do light bulbs as well.
Yeah, I do. I do a lot of smart plugs, and like the tea kettle, I have that hooked up to one, and the space heaters, I'll use it for that too. So I'll just leave the space heater on, but use the smart plug as this on-off switch and do timers. And LED lights are a great way to save energy. I mean, just getting regular LED lights is a great way, even over fluorescence. We've kind of been mandated to switch from incandescence a few years ago, and so now it's either fluorescence or LEDs. I would recommend getting LEDs, but when you use a smart LED, it actually gives you the power to have that light dim automatically, or even have it in like a different ones in different rooms, and you can control each room separately in the app, so you can kind of turn on and off an entire room or just one lamp or things like that. And then another way to save energy Jane's going to talk about is in the kitchen.
So the Crockpot, you just plug it in and set it to low and go, right? Well, now if you want to save some energy, you can program that and it'll just shut off. So that way you save energy as well, and you're not running that wattage the whole time.
Yeah, there's Wi-Fi connected instant pots right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was getting to that.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's Prime Days, so you can check it out on Prime Days because they're running a special there. So Instapot is, everything. You can put a chicken in there and it's done in 15 minutes. And
I don't have one, but 15 minutes to get a chicken done, that's awesome.
It's pretty, well, I'm hypothetically stating, but I've made Greek yogurt and stir fry in there, and it's really fast, and now you add it with a Wi-Fi connection. That's great.
Yeah.
Plus it's on sale.
There you go.
Right.
And so, well, go ahead, Nathan.
I was just going to say, yeah, I'm not a huge cook, but when you make anything smart, it makes it easier for people like me. Less thinking I have to do is better for sure. And our daily lives going to depend on both electricity and internet these days, and that's where Vibrant and Micro Energy are kind of in a unique place to provide services in both these important fields. That's why we love having Vibrant U to educate on some of this stuff. And these devices can save you energy costs. They can make your lives easier. You consume less electricity, and you can add more devices in your life that make your life a little bit easier. So if you have questions about smart products, thermostats, light bulbs, you have some questions if your internet can handle it, or if you don't think your internet can do it, certainly reach out to us at Vibrant. You can call us 693-3231. You can visit vibrantbroadband.com. As always, check the replay of our radio shows on Facebook or YouTube. You can search Vibrant Broadband and listen live every Wednesday at 10:30 on KLFD.
All right. Well, thank you for having us, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thank you, audience, for listening. My name is Shane.
I'm Jane.
And I'm Nathan.
Tune in next week for another Vibrant U Live.
Brilliant speed with Vibrant service. Vibrant broadband internet. Vibrant broadband internet.